joining me for the Good Beauty Reimagine Beauty Dinner. And again, I really appreciate you traveling from LA and Atlanta, and moreover, really having the courage to be vulnerable and discuss beauty. It is such a personal thing. I want to first start off with the conversation we were having a little bit earlier about this video that was on Instagram with this gentleman. It was a football player named Jalil ID. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but he and his fiance, who was a Caucasian woman, and some of his friends, some of them were of mixed race, did a toast to more light-skinned babies. And so with that, I would love to hear from you. If you've not seen the video, but if you have seen the video, and even if you haven't, how does that make you feel?
Off of the top, is that we live in an age where everything is immediate, and so because my nature is to give everyone the benefit of the doubt, the first thing I will say is, okay, it could be that, it was all in good fun. He was joking, and, they were having a moment where they were having a good time, and, they holler about, how light-skinned their children are, or whatever the case is. And so, maybe they didn't necessarily mean it. They weren't being malicious, or they weren't being mean-spirited when it did come out. That said, there definitely needs to be a greater sensitivity to those things that we do say, because we do live in a time where those issues are a little bit more sensitive. And they can potentially be damaging, not just to someone else who hears them, but to your own children.
Absolutely.
Your own children will hear you say that and form an opinion about people of like their own father.
In chatting with friends, it's really unfortunate because our children they're listening to everything, they're watching everything.
As a child, you are a black female, whereas you can't just be, but you are burdened with immediately your color, your complexion, your hair type, and it starts at home sometimes unknowingly. And you are judged consistently. So even at a young age, you're 3, and you have to deal with someone judging you in your own family or at school. So the idea that now here an adult sitting with other adults and children, he brings that, that's your father or your dad's friend, makes it very real.
It is a painful secret in our community of colorism. And when you see the light shine on it, sometimes you want to forget. And, I have tons of personal experience with that within my own family.
For me, I think about what's happening in Africa with the skin bleaching creams, and it just makes me feel like there needs to be more conversation built around this, and really to show the beauty of darker skinned women. It's not just the light skinned women that are beautiful.
My second question is, when was the first time you felt beautiful?
It was actually high school. So freshman prom. I went with a guy, he was older than me. And I was able to dress up, and I got special attention with the makeup, the whole outfit. That was the first time that I was like, oh my God, I feel like a bride. My mom allowed me to get my makeup done and all that good stuff. So for me, it really wasn't until I was a freshman in high school that I felt beautiful on that day.
I want to say it was probably in my 30s, which is kind of scary. So growing up, I grew up in a predominantly Caucasian neighborhood. I was the only person of color. So I always felt very different. So I kind of didn't think that being different was beautiful. So I think I was much older. I want to say maybe in my late 20s or 30s, early 30s, when I really felt that way, which is it makes me a little bit sad, and I hope that's different for my daughter. But I think feeling so different and not having a lot of other images to compare myself to, whether it was on TV, magazines, or even in my own neighborhood, beyond my own mother.
I always thought that being different meant I was beautiful, right? Because we moved around a lot, my dad was in the Army, and we were living all different places, and so we went to school and grew up with children of all different races. And I remember, and so we were always a very close-knit family. So we really were, it was really just about my mom, my dad, and my two sisters. And my parents always instilled confidence in us. There was never any sort of you're better or you're prettier or there never was any of that. And there always was an encouragement of confidence in our home. The first time I can recall anything being said about my skin tone or about the way I looked was when we moved to a white neighborhood, and one of the young white boys pointed me out and said to one of the young boys who was absent my first day of school, and I got to sit at his desk. He said, oh, this black girl sat at your desk, and they all went, oh my God, it's a black, literally, it was like, they were teasing me, and no, it wasn't a bad experience for me though, because I thought, in my home, I always felt beautiful. I always, and as when you're 6, you don't really have an interpretation, an articulation of what that means. You only have feelings, right? And so I thought, well, I'm the only one here, so that must be what beautiful is, being different.
Me, when I felt beautiful was my first time in college when I got male attention, because I didn't get male attention in high school. It's predominantly Caucasian. So for me, I feel like I kind of defined that from the beginning as like, a guy likes me, so I must be beautiful, instead of realizing that that should come from within.
My next question is, when you think of beauty and a beautiful woman, for you, what comes to mind?
For me, it's character. It's the connection, it's the vibrancy. So when I meet someone, another female, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's like awesome. Like it's all about their personality.
Okay.
So that's for me where it starts.
Okay.
Although, there are plenty of beautiful women, I'll recognize that. But for me, it starts with their personality. And it doesn't matter to me, the look or anything. It's just great when you meet someone that has an awesome personality. That's what stands out to me.
But there's something about a woman who is comfortable in her own, whatever that looks like, whatever that nose looks like, whatever that skin tone or the complexion or the hair, she's just owning it. There is something about that jumps off the page as, there could be the most stunning supermodel in the room, and you see her, and you'd be like, there's something about that.
The 90s, there was this surge of beautiful young black women that we were seeing. And what's really wonderful is that we still see you guys today.
Yes. Amen to
And
that.
so, and I put you in there with Nia, with Jada, and I can put Sanaa. There's tons, right? There's this great group of women. And
Ultimately, what it is that I do, and myself and Sanaa and Nia and all the women who are like me in the industry, we are you. We just happen to have jobs that are visible, and we absolutely recognize that we represent you. So, when I have women come up to me and like, oh my God, and you were, I'm like, girl, I am you. What are you talking about?
Wow.
That is you. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we say, Bird, no, you are Bird. I got her from you.
Yeah.